In the heart of a rugged landscape, where mountains loomed and shadows danced in the twilight, a cave miner named Jose was hard at work. He had spent years digging through the earth, searching for precious minerals. On this particular day, as he ventured deeper into the cavern, he stumbled upon an unexpected sight. A gaping sinkhole had formed unexpectedly. Peering over the edge, his heart raced as he caught a glimpse of movement far below. There, wedged among jagged rocks and dirt, was a vaquera named Elena. She looked frightened but determined, her spirit unbroken despite her precarious situation. Her wide eyes searched for help as she called out, "Ayuda!" Jose's instincts kicked in. He knew he couldn't leave her like that. Without another thought, he tossed aside his pickaxe and quickly formulated a plan to save Elena. Realizing time was of the essence, Jose prepared himself for a daring rescue. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows around him as he gathered ropes and sturdy materials from his mining gear. Nearby, the rugged terrain echoed with a sense of urgency. He could almost hear the distant voices of Elena's brothers calling out her name. Jose took a deep breath, feeling the weight of both courage and fear upon him. Every second mattered as he positioned himself to descend into the dark abyss, ready to face whatever dangers lay ahead to bring Elena back to safety. The mission was clear. He had to act quickly and decisively. As Jose peered over the edge of the sinkhole, a sense of dread washed over him. The hole was far deeper than he had anticipated, with rocky walls that seemed almost to close in around Elena. Jagged stones jutted out at odd angles, making the descent treacherous for anyone who dared to venture down. The earth around the sinkhole had been worn away over time, creating a dangerous lip that could easily crumble underfoot. Elena had been out riding her horse, enjoying the vastness of the landscape when the ground suddenly gave way beneath her. She was now trapped, surrounded by loose dirt and sharp rocks that seemed to whisper warnings of danger. As the sunlight faded, shadows loomed over her, adding to her fear. The air was still and heavy, amplifying every sound, her shallow breaths, the distant rustle of leaves, and the echo of her calls for help. Jose's mind raced as he took in the scene. He realized that not only was the depth daunting, but loose debris could fall at any moment, threatening both Elena's safety and his own if he tried to rescue her. The natural hazards of the area were unmistakable. This sinkhole was a silent reminder of how unpredictable nature could be. With no time to waste, he mentally mapped out a strategy to navigate the perilous drop safely, knowing that each second could mean the difference between hope and despair for Elena. With a determined heart, Jose took a moment to steady himself before the rescue. He knew that bravery was not just about facing danger. It was about thinking clearly and acting swiftly. He reached for his sturdy rope, thick enough to hold weight but light enough for him to maneuver. As he tied a secure knot at one end, he thought of Elena's frightened face and the urgency of her situation. Using a nearby rock as an anchor, Jose anchored the other end of the rope before slowly lowering himself into the sinkhole. Every inch downward tested his nerves as loose stones shifted beneath him. He could hear Elena's soft cries echoing in the darkness, pushing him to go faster. "Hold on, I'm coming," he shouted down, his voice filled with encouragement. Once he reached her level, Jose quickly assessed her condition. Elena was shaken but unharmed, clinging to a rocky outcrop for support. "We need to get you up," he said firmly, taking her hand in his. He wrapped the rope around her securely while explaining how she would need to climb slowly as he pulled her up. As they began their ascent, Jose's muscles strained with effort, but he kept his focus on Elena's safety. With each pull upward, he felt a surge of hope. He encouraged her to keep moving and reminded her that they would soon see daylight again. His courage fueled their escape from the darkness as they fought against fear and uncertainty together. As Elena clung to the rocky outcrop in the sinkhole, fear coursed through her veins like a chilling wind. The darkness enveloped her, and she could feel the weight of the earth pressing down around her. Panic threatened to take hold as she recalled the moment her horse had stumbled, sending both of them tumbling into the abyss. Her heart raced with thoughts of helplessness, but deep within her, a flicker of determination burned. "Elena, stay strong," she whispered to herself, trying to push back the tears that threatened to fall. She remembered her family's teachings about resilience and courage, urging herself to focus on survival rather than surrendering to despair. As she strained to hear any sounds from above, hope surged within her when she thought about the possibility of rescue. If someone finds me, she thought, I can get out of here. But with each passing minute, doubt crept in. The darkness felt alive, echoing her fears with every rustling stone and distant noise. Yet through the fog of anxiety, a glimmer of faith remained, faith that someone would come. When she heard José's voice calling out to her from above, it was like music cutting through the silence. Hold on, I'm coming. His words ignited a renewed energy within Elena. She could trust him. He was a miner in his element, and this rescue was their shared fight against the despair lurking in the shadows. Her heart steadied as she prepared herself for his arrival, ready to grasp his hand and climb toward freedom. Meanwhile, back at their homestead, Elena's brothers, Miguel and Antonio, were growing increasingly concerned about her absence. They had noticed her horse wandering back alone and immediately sensed that something was amiss. With a shared look of urgency, they grabbed their gear and set out in search of Elena, their hearts pounding with worry. As they trekked through the rugged terrain, Miguel clutched his lasso tightly, preparing to use it if necessary. We have to find her. She wouldn't just wander off without reason, he exclaimed, his voice steady yet filled with concern. Antonio nodded in agreement, already thinking ahead about what they might face. The brothers instinctively knew the land well. They moved swiftly as they called out for her, their voices echoing against the mountains. It wasn't long before they stumbled upon the massive sinkhole. Their hearts sank as they approached the edge and spotted José, who was already working hard to rescue Elena.
José,
Antonio shouted down, his eyes wide with surprise and gratitude. We'll help. Just tell us what you need. The bond between the brothers was evident as they quickly primed their rifles, ready to protect their sister and assist José in any way possible. A mix of fear and determination fueled them as they prepared to play their part in the rescue, showcasing their readiness to fight for family amid adversity. As Miguel and Antonio stood at the edge of the sinkhole, they quickly began devising a plan to rescue Elena. They could see José down below working tirelessly, but they also understood that time was running out. We need to strategize, Miguel said, looking at the steep walls of the pit. She's depending on us. Antonio nodded, tightening his grip on his rifle. I'll keep watch from up here. If anything goes wrong, I can provide cover. His eyes scanned the surrounding area for any signs of danger. Meanwhile, Miguel fetched his lasso and inspected its sturdiness. I can throw this down to her or even try to lasso José if needed, he suggested. They discussed how best to work together, knowing that coordination was vital to their success. José is already down there, Antonio reminded them. Let's make sure he can get Elena secure before we pull them up. Miguel agreed and decided he would be the one to lower the lasso for Elena to grab onto. Feeling a surge of determination, the brothers stood ready at the edge, scanning for any shifts in the earth around them that might endanger their sister or José. Whatever happens, we will get her out, Miguel vowed firmly, locking eyes with Antonio. Together, they felt the strength of their bond. They would face any challenge head-on to protect their family. The rescue mission had turned into a united front against uncertainty, fueled by love and courage as they awaited their moment to act. As the tension mounted, Miguel took a deep breath and prepared to throw his lasso. With a steady hand, he swung the rope overhead, gauging the distance to Elena in the sinkhole below. On 3, he called out to Antonio, who nodded in response, ready to assist. 1, 2, 3. Miguel released the rope, sending it spiraling down toward Elena. The lasso landed just within her reach, and she quickly grasped it, feeling a surge of hope wash over her. I've got it, she shouted back, her voice filled with determination. Now pull, Antonio encouraged from above, positioning himself firmly to help guide them. Miguel began to pull on the lasso with all his strength, carefully coordinating his movements with José, who was already supporting Elena as much as possible. "Keep climbing, Elena. We're right here," he shouted to her. With each upward pull, they felt the strain of their efforts but pushed through as a team. Antonio maintained his watchful gaze, scanning for any signs of danger or loose debris that might threaten their rescue mission. The brothers worked in perfect sync, adjusting their rhythm to Elena's movements below. "Almost there," Miguel cried out as he felt her weight shifting higher up the rope. Just then, a small rock tumbled down from the edge of the sinkhole. "Watch out!" Antonio yelled, instinctively raising his rifle to keep an eye on potential threats while continuing to support Miguel's efforts. The brothers' teamwork and unwavering focus allowed them to stay calm amid chaos as they united in their goal, bringing Elena safely back to solid ground. As Elena gripped the lasso tightly, a sudden rumble echoed from deep within the sinkhole, raising the stakes of their precarious rescue. The earth shifted ominously beneath her, and Miguel's heart raced as he strained to pull her upward. "Stay steady. We've got you," he shouted, but uncertainty gnawed at him like a wild animal. He couldn't shake the feeling that time was not on their side. Antonio's eyes darted around, on high alert for anything that could threaten their efforts. The sun was beginning to set, casting long shadows over the rugged landscape. Every minute felt like an hour. He knew they had to act fast before darkness enveloped them completely.
Miguel.
"We need to hurry," he urged. Just then, a sharp crack pierced the air like thunder as more rocks dislodged themselves from the walls of the sinkhole and tumbled down. "Look out!" Antonio yelled, instinctively raising his rifle as instinct kicked in. Thankfully, no debris fell directly onto Elena or Jose below, but it was a haunting reminder of how dangerous their situation really was. With adrenaline pumping through their veins, Miguel and Antonio worked in synchronized urgency. The lasso tightened as they pulled harder and kept encouraging Elena to climb higher with every tug. "You can do it. Just a little more." They could feel the tension building around them, not just from the physical strain but from an unspoken terror of what might happen if they failed. Every sound echoed their fears. Rustling stones and falling debris took on new meanings in this adrenaline-fueled moment of suspense. Together, they held onto hope as fiercely as their ropes, determined to bring Elena back to safety despite any challenges that lay ahead. As Miguel and Antonio pulled on the lasso with all their might, a wave of relief washed over them when they felt Elena begin to rise. "You're almost there," Miguel shouted, his heart racing as he strained against the rope. The moment seemed suspended in time, filled with a mix of hope and tension as they fought against the odds. Finally, with one last determined effort, Elena surged upward, her hands finding purchase on the edge of the sinkhole. Antonio reached down, his fingers grasping hers tightly. With a final tug of strength from Miguel, they pulled her up until she was finally safe on solid ground. Elena collapsed onto the grass, gasping for breath but filled with overwhelming joy. Tears streamed down her face as she looked up at her brothers and Jose, gratitude shining in her eyes. "You did it! You rescued me!" she exclaimed, laughter mixing with her tears of relief. Jose stepped back, breathing heavily but smiling widely as he joined in the celebration. "We all did it together," he said, feeling a swell of pride in their teamwork. Miguel and Antonio wrapped their arms around Elena, pulling her close. "We were so worried," Miguel whispered, his voice filled with emotion. "But you're safe now." The sunset painted the sky in hues of orange and pink, creating a beautiful backdrop for their reunion. As they embraced each other tightly, the danger of the sinkhole faded into memory, replaced by the warmth of family and friendship forged through adversity. Together, they knew they could face anything that came their way. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the landscape, the family savored their hard-won reunion. In that moment of relief and joy, they reflected on what had transpired, a true testament to the power of courage and family bonds. Jose, still breathing heavily from the effort, looked at Elena, Miguel, and Antonio with a heart full of gratitude. "Together, we faced something terrifying today," he said, his voice steady. "It reminds us how important it is to stand by each other in times of crisis." The weight of their experience lingered in the air, a reminder of how quickly life can change and how vital it is to support one another. Elena wiped away her tears and smiled through her exhaustion. "I never would have made it without all of you," she admitted. The brothers nodded, feeling a deep connection that ran beyond words. They understood that bravery wasn't just about facing danger alone but working together as a family. As they gathered close, enveloped in a warm embrace, they knew their bond was stronger than ever. Each member had played a crucial role in Elena's rescue. Jose with his quick thinking, Miguel with his skillful lassoing, and Antonio with his vigilant watch over them all. The night sky began to blanket the world around them, but within this small circle, there was comfort and strength. They realized that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, always ready to help one another through whatever storms may come. In unity and love, they found their greatest strength.